All right, guys. Now I can't wait to get into your comments about all of that. How many of you guys knew about that? I have no idea how in 2016 the media did not cover that sensational testimony, but that's what we're here for. That's what the independent media is here for. Speaking of the independent media, House and Habit, Jessica Reed Krause dropped a Substack. You guys were all pinging me. Have you seen this? You didn't see me all weekend because I turn my phone off on Friday nights and I keep it off all day Saturday. And on Sundays, I give the day to the Lord. And we actually had a cardinal elect in town. And all of those things are infinitely more important than online drama that was getting weird. It was just getting very, very weird. Anyways, to briefly recap to you, House and Habit is what she goes by. Her name is Jessica Reed Krause. Obviously, she has a newsletter that was, I would say, very popular, obviously new to the Maha movement. And she initially dropped the newsletter in which she name-checked me, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, kind of said everyone was kind of biting her style. Tucker may have been funded by Iran and that I was floundering. I responded to that newsletter totally fairly, did not say anything personal about her attacker. And then she got very personal very quickly with me. I took it in light spirits. She called me a mean girl for responding to that newsletter, an anti-Semite, plus that I was blocked by Trump, which we still have not seen evidence for. She also made fun of my wedding and then accused me of being a secret pretty princess or something like that. Said I had some secret wealth, which still also has not emerged. And I'm deeply upset about that. Anyways, the next day, I assumed she just had a couple of glasses of wine and was going to wake up in the morning and be like, okay, that was dumb. But she went very gloves off very quickly and began going after her former best friend, Denise. I think thinking that Denise had said something to me about her personally. She absolutely and categorically did not. But she went on to her Substack and called Denise a bad mom, an alcoholic, and nobody really understood why Denise was being attacked or why they were being told about Denise's personal life and relationships and her children. And what I can say right away is that when these things happen, it is best to log off, right? People never want to do that. They always think they can out-tweet or out-share and change people's minds. You just somehow get through it by trying to change the narrative 1,000 times. And that is 99% of the time wrong. 99.9% of the time, I would say wrong. And so Jessica did that, I guess, through the weekend, and then it culminated into her dropping another Substack. And I can tell you right off the bat that it is not being received well, and it is causing even more people to unsubscribe, people that were waiting for her to kind of just do a mea culpa and say, I'm really sorry. And that's not exactly what they got. I can kind of read you some of these responses. This person wrote, my take on House and Habits Substack from today. As Jessica Reed Krause addresses in her Substack the drama unfolding from this last week, I'm sorry to say I'm not comfortable with any of it. I'm one of those people that didn't unfollow her or take a reactive dig at her, regardless of how disturbing and belligerent I found her private texts to be that were being publicly circulated online in everyone's IG stories. I even went out on a limb offering her some encouraging advice in the DMs, to which she responded with an emoji, so I know she at least read it. Generally speaking, I'm rarely preemptive in response, even if I start formulating a solid opinion early on, something breaking. Why? Because I've learned that there's always 3 sides to any story, sometimes more, and not everything is as it seems at face value. The parts I am genuinely uncomfortable with in her Substack response article is 1, she still didn't issue an apology for the persons that she insulted, the ones that were her best friends. 2, she went forward with some clever wording, taking yet another dig, categorically a passive-aggressive one, at Candace Owens. And 3, she didn't quite understand what everyone's issue was with her behavior, chalking it up to the fact that people, mainly women, are ready to tear other women down as they get bigger and more successful. No, my dear, you are absolutely wrong. People lost their trust in you based on information and your actions. That's the bottom line. In fact, we don't even trust that you wrote your Substack reply entirely, independently, at this point, and for good reason. And that's what it all boils down to. In this age of truth pursuit that we are all in, there's little room for reconciling BS if you value honesty. Sure, there's always a lesson to learn in these situations, Jessica, but it's not a lesson that you're going to learn that we now have to bring ourselves to move on from. It's a lesson that you'll hopefully learn from, but also learn to live with. The grace you are seeking, you have to earn it back, and it may take a long time, if ever. I thought that was really well said. And so basically in the Substack, which we can pull up, Skylar, if you want to, it was, just not, like I said, the apology that we were looking for. She kind of did say that she felt that moms were trying to take her down, which is just, I think, so ridiculous. And this has gotten so far away from just people being able to respond to criticism that you levy in any of your pieces. She does take another dig at me. She refers to me as someone who just talks in front of a camera, which is fine. I don't care. That is like I can take a light little bump there. That's totally fine. And then she does seem to still go after Denise while still protecting Olivia, which people found to be very strange. Olivia Nuzzi, I just don't know why she's so inclined to protect her and not to protect her friend of 14 years. She said, my piece was not a hit job on anyone. I didn't attack Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, or Ian Carroll. I simply shared my perspective. That just seems very not true. I don't think suggesting that Tucker is an Iran propagandist can register as anything other than an attack. And she also copped to the fact that she didn't vote in the last election, which people found to be extremely problematic as someone who's engaged in politics. And I think that this just kind of wasn't what she should have done at all. And what I can tell you is that I did have a conversation with her because I don't hate her, obviously. I just don't hate people. I don't like people who plot against my life. And it was very similar to what the Substack was. I gave her free advice. I said, log off the internet. I think you are now gaslighting your readers. They obviously understand what happened here. They don't understand why you are defending Olivia Nuzzi while casting shade on your friend of 14 years. I explained to her that, she has said a lot of things behind the scenes that everybody is hearing, spoke about the RFK Jr. thing. And I told her that sometimes it is best to focus on your personal life and things that are of true value, and how she came across in those posts when she was talking about her access to the White House, which she's still in that Substack kind of said, Trump doesn't care about this. Somebody told me he doesn't care about this, which I don't think was the right tone to hit. What I can tell you is that I did find even more information about how this hit piece came together. And it is shocking that it truly is a case. If you read the text messages between these women about me, it was like reading text messages, or like I logged on to AIM Messenger when I was 12 years old and was reading away messages. It's just remarkably petty and just not something that I was interested in at all. Making fun of me in the way I speak on Theo Vaughn, making fun of me in general. Like, it's just very strange. And somebody telling her, like, Candace is trying to be you. Like, definitely another writer in her ear who wasn't even Emily, just telling her, like, look, she wants to be you. Like, she's copying your reporting from 3 years ago. It's just really small. And it is that, I think, is she admitted, to her credit, she did admit in that conversation that her entire work environment was toxic. And that is also something that Emily said, that is the office, so to speak, environment, that they're all kind of petty and immature and mean girls. And that she said that she was kind of realizing how not normal that was. And I said to her, yeah, not normal at all. Not at all what my team is. I've actually had the same team for 5 years, 4.5 years now, same editor, same producer, missing my executive producer because she moved, but same director, same Savannah, who went from being my executive assistant to my manager. And I was just trying to kind of tell her that's what's normal, like healthy relationships, having people on your team who you want to see do well, people that will have your back when you have major life changes, like me leaving the Daily Wire and them like sticking with me. And I am just realizing that I think she is a part of that world that we often talk about, that kind of trying to foster the devil wears Prada, and thinking that, access to Anna Wintour and celebrities and politicians and being mean and putting people down is the culture. And it's not the culture. It's not the culture at all, And hopefully she learns from it. I did pray for her at Mass because I am in a very good habit of praying for people who attack me and do things. And the best part of being and doing bad things is the redemption. I hope she realizes that. It's the true redemption. It's really actually saying, I'm not going to blame Emily. I'm not going to blame this person or that person. I'm going to blame myself because this is my Substack and I took part in these conversations and I need to own up to that. And when you do those things, you'd be shocked at how the world will open up and forgive you. And I just don't think she's there right now. And that's why I think her taking a break is probably the right thing to do, because things have gotten incredibly toxic for her. And I will leave that there for now. I will leave it at. All right, guys. Last story that I wanted to get to. There were people asking me my opinion about these Daily Wire bankruptcy rumors. Okay, so there have been exits at the Daily Wire for sure. First, obviously, Jeremy Boring left the co-CEO and said he's going to go do some creative stuff and hasn't been heard from since. Then the president also resigned, looks like steps down. And this was reported by John Lewis, out at the Daily Wire. And then over the weekend, the big one came when it was announced by James Lee that Bent Key Kids had shuttered its doors, and also that their main PR person, Alyssa, also left or was resigned or was fired. He wrote, "The implosion at the Daily Wire is accelerating. What started with Jeremy Boring stepping down has now spiraled into mass layoffs and another firing of senior executive Alyssa Cordova, the vice president of public relations. Here are all the juicy details." The Daily Wire just fired Alyssa Cordova, the VP of Public Relations, and according to sources, Alyssa Cordova was Jeremy's minion, one who was responsible for crafting the company's aggressive and paranoid media strategy. Cordova allegedly stalked former employees online, kept folders of clipped videos of their enemies, helped wage internal vendettas under the guise of PR. One source, the disaster of their PR strategy over the last year was cooked up between Jeremy and Alyssa, end quote. Then he goes on, for mass layoffs, the Daily Wire is also shuttering its kids division entirely, roughly a quarter of the company. And internally, people are furious. One source put it bluntly, if they let Jeremy go a long time ago, many people would still have jobs today. Everyone knows it. And this kind of started is the Daily Wire going bankrupt rumors. Then to add some clarity to the situation, a journalist named Will Sommer, who used to work for the Daily Beast, now works or is the CEO or something of Bulwark, confirmed he got a statement from the Daily Wire, and he said Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire has been hit by layoffs just a few weeks after CEO Jeremy Boring, who was trying to become a sort of conservative media entertainment mogul, stepped down. A Daily Wire spokesman tells me, quote, as part of our ongoing plan to better align resources with business priorities and growth areas, the Daily Wire has made the decision to streamline and in some cases reduce some of our workforce. This decision was based on business needs and operational efficiencies. We are deeply grateful to our impacted employees for their contributions and are providing them with severance and career transition support. Our focus remains on delivering the highest quality content and experiences to our subscribers while ensuring the long-term success of our business. End quote. And then Alyssa came and said that she was not fired, that she left voluntarily. Oh, wow, this blew up. However, it's fake news. I resigned last Thursday voluntarily, but not with the drama that you've been led to believe. I love the Daily Wire, Jeremy, Ben, and Caleb, and will still be working with the company as a consultant. The 4 years I spent at DW were some of the most rewarding of my life. I am and will remain a fan and supporter and know they will keep doing great things. You dorks need to stop watching so many TikTok conspiracies. I was actually triggered when I saw that because the one person that I can take it to the bank is a terrible human being is Alyssa Cordova. And I mean, the stories, and I responded and I was like, okay, like, no, they made a fantastic decision. Whether she resigned, was fired, this person, it is fantastic that she is no longer there. And the way that I am reading the situation, listen, you can cheer all you want at like the Benke Kids division closing, but I think a lot of times when you think of companies, you think of individuals and how you feel about them. The workers at the Daily Wire are people just like you and me, who probably were huge Candace Owens fans, who probably even listen. They probably are listening to the Candace Owens podcast right now. And it sucks when there is a company image, maybe one that was spun by Jeremy Boring, that leads to people celebrating them being without jobs. So just remember that if you're applauding that there are real people that worked in that division. I don't think the bankruptcy rumors are true. I don't think that that would have been, if they were under any financial pressure, they would have restructured and they would have cut the fat. And I think that it's much more likely a restructuring. And that, by the way, is the right thing to do. You don't want to go bankrupt. So you get people in and you restructure and you get rid of things that aren't working and you get rid of personnel that are not working. And Alyssa Cordova is a special human being. And I say this, and I said on Twitter, I said, you will be hard pressed to find a current person at the Daily Wire or a former person at the Daily Wire who will come out and say that she was well loved. I find her to be remarkably toxic, and I feel amazing that I can say that because she's no longer personnel at the Daily Wire. And so I think these moves are good. I think it is probably like a dark cloud being lifted. A company can't, it just can't survive if there are people who are working against the company within it. And I would say that Alyssa, good riddance. Please, if you're thinking about hiring her, please call me and allow me to give you the ultimate recommendation on the things that she has done to people. And I say this because you guys know how I am when people mess with my family, and I consider her someone who personally messed with my personal relationships. Um, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I think it's likely a restructuring, and that is all I'm going to say about that topic before I get to all of your comments.